Nerds Learn to Fly. I am not affiliated with Walt Disney World in any way, nor do I work for Walt Disney World any longer. Today I want to talk to you about skinning a dinosaur. Yeah, that's right, I said skinning a dinosaur. I'm one of the few people in the world who have gotten to skin a dinosaur. Being a show finisher in the artist prep department at Disney's Animal Kingdom, I worked on the ride Dinosaur. Now, every once in a while, the skins would have to come off of one of those figures so that the mechanics and electricians to get to hard-to-reach places for rehabs, a lot of different reasons. Most of the time we tried to do the repairs to the skin while they were still on the figure just because of how difficult it is to change out a skin. A lot of people think that when you're a show finisher in an artist prep department, it's this romantic job where you get to paint all the time and you get to do these fluffy things. And I just want to tell you that that is not the case. We did get to do some of those fluffy things, but I was also trained to drive a forklift. I was trained to drive high reaches, other large pieces of heavy machinery, and there were times that I was using crowbars and chainsaws and table saws. Yeah, it was not the job of any princess, let me tell you that. Most of the time I came home sweaty and dirty and with hydraulic stuck underneath my fingernails, or epoxy stuck in my hair, depending. So changing out a dinosaur skin was probably one of the most laborious tasks that I had as a show finisher. The skins on the dinosaurs are made out of silicone, and the Carno skins weigh almost 250 pounds. The figures, the actual mechanisms of the figures, are run on hydraulic, and they run 3,000 psi. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, that would be about the same as large farm equipment, large farm machinery. Your tractors, backhoes, things like that. Yeah, they were some monsters. They could really do some damage to you if you didn't understand what you were doing. So you had these huge machines that these heavy silicone skins had to go onto, and they still had to look good for our guest. Well, one of the things to make them look good for our guest was that you couldn't see the seam in show. The seam ran down the back of the figure, which was essentially on top. That meant that the skins had to go from the bottom over the top. So you had to bring in these 250-pound skins. We had no machinery to help us out with this, so it was all done by hand. It took about 5 people, 5 hours to put a skin on one of these animatronics. They were snapped onto fiberglass ribs. The female snap was on the skin, the male snap was on the rib. You had to line them up and then snap through about a 1/2 inch of silicone to snap it onto this moving rib. The rib was attached to other mechanisms that allowed it to move, so when you went to snap it would move. And you had, like I say, 5 people wrestling this heavy, typically dirty skin, because with all that hydraulic, no matter how many times you clean the skin, it still would leach hydraulic fluid out. So it was dirty and slick and heavy, and you had to snap it up from the bottom up. So you'd come in with a stretcher, 2 of you carrying 250 pounds on the stretcher, and lay it underneath the figure. And then you would use towels to grab hold of the skin because it was too slick just to hold the skin alone. And you'd use towels to grab the skin, throw it up over the top. Now you're looking at 6 feet or more because the figures are huge, and it always helped to have a big burly mechanic or one of the taller guys to help out with that. And then you would start snapping. And you had to snap from the bottom up. So you'd roll down one side so that you could see in, and then you'd start snapping from the bottom up. And you couldn't let go of the snaps you'd already done because the gravity would take hold and unsnap them. And there's nothing worse than the sound of 100 snaps that you've just snapped coming undone. Pop, 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 as the skin falls to the floor. It's enough to make you cry. So you'd have to hold on to the snap line you're working on, and then you've got the other 5 people, you know, under your armpits, right up against you. Their sweat's dripping on you. You're moving along this snap line. They're moving along another snap line, but you get to a point that you can't go any higher without moving, and you can't let go of the snap line. So you're holding that, and somebody else has done theirs, and they're like, hey, can you hold this for me? So you're holding theirs, and then somebody else goes, I need somebody to take weight off the bottom. So you lift up your knee, and this is how you're stuck for 30 minutes with the weight of 250 pounds at any moment ready to release. We used to call it Twister in Hell, because you imagine that's what Twister in Hell would be like. And eventually, you know, through the 5 of you working well together, you're able to snap this figure into place. And you hope that they don't have any kind of feedback issue that causes the figure to jerk really hard and all of those snaps come undone again. But yeah, not an easy job at all. Not a clean job at all. I will miss the camaraderie that we always had when we were doing skins, but I do not miss the way that I would hurt 2 to 3 days after changing out a Carno skin. And like when we had the rehab and we did multiple skins in the span of a few months, I lost all feeling in my arm at night. I would wake up in the morning and have to wait for the feeling to come back into my hands because of all of the repetitive motion. You know, your back. I gotta say, it helped my upper body strength, and I'm missing the exercise here at home. But yeah, skinning a dinosaur, that's going to go down on one of the hardest things that I had to do at Disney's Animal Kingdom. If you got any weird questions, I'd be happy to answer them in the comments section below. And if you found it interesting and hope to catch more episodes like this, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try to do these vlogs on Sunday. So I hope to see you guys back next week. And I don't know what I'll be talking about. It could be dinosaurs, it could be giant grasshoppers, maybe even an alien or two. Who knows? Bye, guys.
Always an adventure.
Yeah, that's us.